Oh, there you go.
Alright, back to our question. So I'm going to do Hillary's numbers for number 3. My numbers are different, but I want you to make note of how the answer is typed in. Do you see how this one has brackets?
No.
If you look at the answer for number 4, see how it has I, J, K? So usually I use I, J, K, unless the problem specifically starts in brackets, and sometimes I just use brackets. Okay? So if you try to use brackets for number 3, I don't think it will be accepted. I mean, if you try to use I, J, K instead of brackets. Also won't work is if you use the keypad I, J, K. You have to use vector I, vector J, vector K for like these. Those are in the vector button on the right side of the
Do we need work pages for this?
yes.
Why does it matter for the buttons? Why would it matter? How's it a big deal?
I don't know. It just is. It won't take it. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this one. I'm not going to do these numbers. I'm going to do
Is it glitching or?
let's see, I have trouble. Okay, what's your U? Okay, let's do it. And your V?
It looks lovely.
Yeah. See, when I use the other, like the whiteboard marker, it works fine. But when I use this marker from the Intel board, it does not work.
It worked fine yesterday.
I can use this, but then it like flashes every time.
But it looks so much better.
Okay, well, here comes it again. Okay, when I looked at yours, I didn't see any mistakes, but I must have been a mistake somewhere. I just didn't catch it. So let's go ahead and do our I matrix. 1, 2, 2, 4. See, why does this have to flash every time?
Here, I wonder if there's a fix for it.
I hope there is, because
Thank you for that. That's more. They're complaining that's just.
it's just one of those days.
It's been 2 days now.
No, just today. Alright, so that's what you have, right, on your paper? I didn't find any mistakes. So left diagonal minus right diagonal. So 4 minus 4. Negative 4 minus 4. And negative 2 minus 2. So this one's 0i. This would be a negative 8, but that becomes a plus 8. Do you have a plus 8 or a negative 8? That's where it is then. It should be a positive 8 because these are negative, but that's a negative. Okay. These are negative, right? But that negative cancels it out. It's going to end up being a positive 8. You always have a minus with the j. It's plus minus plus for your signs for equation. So this negative cancels the negative 8. And it just becomes positive. This is a negative 4 still. I will say, you guys can see the flashing on the drawing keypad, but when it's in the video, that's not even there. Like you can't even see it. Alright, so what you would put in your answer box, I don't know.
Like, since we have a dual monitor. If you ever extend it on.
Well, I could, but then I can't select anything else. So if I want to erase something or whatever, then there's no way for me to pull it back
Or you
here.
can have it like down at the bottom.
Because this is only duplicating off the one screen. Okay?
Does negative 60 sound okay to you, or does
Maybe
that
that
sound
will be
too
less
good?
annoying. What?
Does negative 60 sound okay to you, or does that sound too big?
For one number? I mean, look at the numbers for mine. I have a 33.
Oh,
Everybody's going to have different numbers based on what your vectors are. Yes, you do need to write this work down. On the quiz, I will be looking for it. No work, there was points. On the last chapter test, I had the work page worth 10 points. Quizzes I'm not so picky on, but and I specifically looked for something for each of those points. Like, number 1, did you show completing the square? Number 2, you know what I mean? Like, I specifically looked for the work, for the problems that needed it.
Wait, how does the crossing go work for J?
It's still left diagonal minus right
No,
diagonal.
like when you put it in there. Like
This?
Yeah.
You take out the middle column.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Thank you.
So the main difference between 4 and 3 is that 4 requires you to put the answer in with the I, the J, and the K instead of the vector brackets. Okay, so it's the same process. I think on that one, since it's so similar, I think I will just check your numbers on, like, instead of doing with my number, I'll just look at yours. See if I can do it. Huh? Mm-hmm. I do want to do number 10. Has anybody got to number 10 yet? No? Okay, so I would like to kind of cover that one because I want to make sure everybody knows how to do it. Okay? So you might not be to number 10 yet, but take a look at number 10 in a minute. Anybody need more time with number 3?
I just have a question real quick.
Yeah.
When you said you start with the top left diagonal and you go like that,
Mm-hmm.
and do you also go like in an X fashion?
Mhm.
Like the top right down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alright, so like top left here, that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Top right here, that's 4. And it's always subtraction, so 4 minus 4.
Okay.
I'll do it again on number 10. Anybody else have questions on 3? Okay.
Or you just enter, like, do you still put it in brackets?
How do I clear this?
Exit drawing?
Thank you. What did you say about 4? 4, you just put it in I, the J, and the K. You're not using 5, also I, J. Now 6 and 7 asks you to do a unit vector. That means you have to divide the vector by its magnitude. 9 is the area of the parallelogram, so you have to do the cross product and then do the magnitude. And then 10. What does 10 say? Find the area of the triangle with the given vertices. So here's the trick to doing number 10. You have to pick one of the points and go towards the other 2. So picture 3 coordinates in a 3-dimensional space, right? So if you have 3 different coordinates in a 3-dimensional space, you can do a vector from one to the other 2. You see what I'm saying? So I can make vector u go from here to here, that would be u. And then vector v would go from here to here, that would be v. So how do you find a vector from 2 points? This was from the 10.2 homework. Have you done the 10.2 homework? You have to subtract, right? Terminal minus initial. So if I'm going to find vector u, I'm going to do 5 minus 4. And then negative 3 plus 5. And then 5 minus 6. Any questions on how I got those? So I did terminal point minus initial point. That's how I found my vector. So again, 5 minus 4. Negative 3 minus negative, that's a plus 5. And 5 minus 6. Now I'm going to find vector v. The same way, because I'm going to do this point minus the first point. So I have to do 2 minus 4. Negative 1 plus 5. And 1 minus 6. Alright, any questions on how I found vector u or vector v? What did I do again? I did terminal minus initial, but I had the same starting point. So for instance, if you pick the first point to go from, it has to go to the second, and the first one has to go to the third. I could have done the middle one though, and the middle one to the left, and the middle one to the right. You have to pick the same starting point. Okay, so this is my I, J, K. Think of this as my, matrix here. So my I would be 2, -1, 4, -5. My J, 1, -1, -2, -5.
Ooh.
And my K, you squeeze it in. 1, -1, that's 1, 2, sorry. 1, 2. And then -2, 4. Squeeze my K matrix in there. Okay, so then what do I do? This is the exact same thing I did on number 3. I'm going to do left diagonal minus right diagonal. So -10 minus -4, so +4. -5 minus 2, and 4 plus 4. Be careful with your negatives. Do you see how this one I have a -2? Why do I have a -2? Because a negative times a negative is a positive, and it's supposed to be subtraction. So it's
7 times 5 is 35, right?
Yes. No. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how many i's do I have? I have -6 I. -7, but that's a -j. So we positive 7j. And then I have 8k. Now, is that the final answer? No. That's a cross product. What gives us the area? It's the magnitude of the cross product. And look over here in this green box. You see how it's divided by 2? Anybody have a guess why it's divided by 2? Triangle is half of a parallelogram, isn't it? So you have to cut your area in half. Your parallelogram area is the square root of this square, and this square. So in my case, I would have 36 plus 49 plus 64. Add this up in your calculator. 149. So I get the square root of 149. And over here you can see, well, I kind of wrote over it, but this answer here is the square root of 149 divided by 2. Again, it's divided by 2 because the parallelogram is cut in half to make a triangle.
Mine is like 7,140.
That's possible. The one I did earlier was in the thousands. I have some big numbers earlier. I had like 35 as one of my numbers here. So like I have 35 squared.
Yeah, I have 65 and 54.
Yeah. It's bigger than what I had, but it was good too. Two. This 2 here. It's because when we do the cross product magnitude, we actually get the area of the parallelogram, which is a quadrilateral, right? But a triangle is half of a parallelogram. So that's why you have to cut it in half.
Number 4 said it was
I'll look at your numbers. If you think you're doing something right, but it's saying it's wrong, I've had a lot of people ask me today about questions like that, and it's simply usually a negative or something. Like you just missed a negative or switched a sign somewhere. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 10.3. So I think I've kind of gone over cross products again. Is there anything in 10.2 or 10.1 still that you want to go over? So today and tomorrow are review days. I have assigned to you a chapter review which basically recovers the stuff from the virtual days last week and what we learned yesterday with the cross products. It has 18 questions on it. The test won't be that long. Or quiz, sorry. It's not a quiz. It's not a test. It's a quiz. We only have a quiz though. And then we're moving on to chapter 7.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hillary. Yeah. Alright, any other
Me
questions
too.
before I erase this?
Are you done with the recording?
Yes. I'm gonna stop it. Is that okay? Alright. Exit from.
You might have maxed out.